Hey, what is going on, everybody? This is Dante Williams, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about ways that we can move forward with our career, but particularly I want to point out ways that we can rebuild and reestablish our self-confidence and self-esteem. Many of us have been through many different types of workplaces and situations and scenarios that have either been positive or unfortunately negative. And what we find most times is that those negative experiences end up becoming the most memorable, meaning that those experiences still stay with us even though we are at a new place of employment. One could almost phrase it as a workplace trauma. That might be a topic I'll get into at some point in the future. But some might argue it's been a traumatic experience. Maybe you had a supervisor or an employer that made you feel dumb. Maybe they belittled you amongst your colleagues. Maybe they gave you a really bad review at some point that you didn't necessarily agree with. And it really attacked and it tapped into your self-worth, self-esteem, and self-efficacy. All three of those are distinctly different, but we won't delve into the difference between those in this topic, in this video. So one of the ways that we can move forward with our lives and move forward with our career, both personally and professionally. Now, when I say move forward with your career, it's almost synonymous to moving forward with our personal life. A lot of the things sometimes that we experience in the workplace can really attack our personal well-being and personal life. We see a strong correlation between increased amounts of stress and the reduction of our quality of life, especially as we get older and things. Stress really does cause long-term health issues, whether that be high blood pressure, hypertension that's developed due to the stress that's happening, depression or anxiety symptoms that you're feeling, again, due to the workforce. There's a lot on the line when we go to work. It's not just something that we're whistling happy and everything's fine. There's a lot on the line. If we lose our employment or we lose our source of income, that's a very stressful thing. And so if you're having, performance management conversations, or you're having disagreements with your supervisor or colleagues on your team, it can be something that's very stressful. It can be something that really can damage your long-term outlook on your life and your long-term health. And so it's really important to, as you move forward with your career. And again, this is when I say move forward, you decided this place is no longer for me. This place I've reached the point where I'm so burned out with this place that there's nothing that can be done that can help me recover back and to stay at this place, right? And from employers and supervisors, that is something that, we have to constantly be thinking about and measuring and attacking and addressing. Because once an employee hits that point where it's I'm done, I'm never coming back here, you've lost them. There's no amount of money you could put their way. There's nothing that they could do, because they've got the point that they said that enough is enough. And this place has attacked my dignity and my well-being so much that I no longer view this place as a possible option to stay into. So it's important to think about that. But so one of the things that we have to do when we're wanting to move forward is own what is ours and throw away what is not ours. And what do I mean by that? Let's take, for example, most times folks are leaving jobs because of their supervisors, typically, right? So one of those things that we have to do is we have to think about, I talked to a lot of people, and most of the things that cause issues for them when they're, in a career counseling context is it's hard for them to let those things go. The words that was said to them or the way that they made them feel has attacked their overall perceptions of how they view themselves, again, as an employee and in their personal lives too. And a lot of us have had those experiences, and again, free to comment in the sections, in the links below here. But a lot of us have had those experiences where we've had conversations that were so damaging to the way we viewed ourselves that it was almost and still hard to recover from how we interact and ebb and flow in the workplace. So one of the things that we have to do is we have to reconcile what is ours to own and what was unfair and unjust treatment to us. Okay. What I mean by that is, in some contexts, their employer may be right? For me, I'm going to be vulnerable here. I am not a detail-oriented person to save my life. I am awful. I am terrible at details. I mean, I am atrocious at them. I am not cognitively structured to think through details, unfortunately or fortunately, however you view it. Okay. And again, if you've ever taken like a strength finder type of thing where you typically focus on what you're good at versus what you're bad at, that can really relieve some of that pressure and stress. But most times people take those assessments and they're like, hey, this is what you're good at, but I need you to get better in your weakness areas. And in those types of assessments, what they're really saying is leverage and align your talents so that you are doing the things that you're good at. So for me personally, I am, and if anybody has supervised me, I can tell you I'm terrible with details. But if you ask me to come up with a creative and brilliant concept, I'm your guy all day long. I delve into the world of creativity so much. That is my home. But for me, that's some feedback that I got. And, I had to take it for what it was worth. I had to say, like, what is mine and what is not mine, right? Yes, I am not good at details. That is something that maybe I can improve on, or maybe I can do things differently and think about it. And to be honest, as I've gotten, mature in my professional life, I've learned what works for me to help me be a little bit more detail oriented at times, but noticing what is my skill set. And also the other aspect is what is not mine? What has happened to me? What has been said to me? What about the workplace culture that was so incongruent with how I should be treated as a human being that I no longer even view myself as a person that is capable of doing great things? What was going on in the company culture that made me feel this way? That's not yours to own. See, that's the difference. We own all of it. Typically, when we get done, we leave a place. We're so scorned and burned out sometimes, and sometimes bitter about how we were mistreated because there was no justice, because the people there treated us so terribly, and they blamed us for things that was not ours to be blamed for. And that will still stay with us if we don't deal with it. If we don't, first acknowledge what is it that's happened to me in that. And sometimes it's painful. So it's a journey. So don't push it. But because like I said, there are some traumatic experiences in the workplace. And I've heard many hundreds of stories of different people being clearly mistreated. And it's painful. So one of the things is first acknowledging what has happened exactly. What exactly has happened that made you feel a certain way. Expound on that. Even take a piece of paper and write out, what has happened to me throughout my professional career that made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And I'm talking about in the context of work. This, again, can be appropriated in the context of professional life as well. But in this work context, writing down even too, like what has happened to me that has made me feel like I wasn't good enough. What was said to me that made me feel like I didn't belong? What was done to me or, microaggressed against me or whatever has happened to me that made me feel like I don't belong here. I'm not good enough and I'm not of value. First, you have to identify what that was and then identify the feeling that with that, right? So if you felt isolated or you were disrespected, what did you feel? Did you feel sadness? Did you feel anger? Identify the feeling and thought with that, because that's going to be important. Because again, if we don't think about those things, when we go to move forward, get a new career, get a new job, do a new opportunity, the remnant of those experiences still stay with us. So as we move forward, we have to also address what has happened to us, what was done to us, and pointing out if it's not yours, if you were being done wrong, you should not have you should not have had that happen to you. You should not have felt like you were not good enough. You should not have been disrespected. You should not have been facing sexism in the workplace. You should not have been facing racism in the workplace. Truly, you should not have been, but you did. And that's not okay. So if you assess how you are as a professional, those things are not yours to own. So for me, if I experience microaggression personally in my professional career, I'm not holding on to those things. If someone assumes something like, Dante, you're too loud when you talk, that's on you. I'm an exciting person and that aligns with my jobs. I'm good at that. That's something that makes me me. I'm not changing that for you because you have some sort of issues that you don't deal with, right? But in terms of detail, that's me. Yeah, that's something I gotta work on or own it's a weakness, or own it's something that I might not even be capable of doing. That's okay. But again, if it was something that was done to you in order to move forward, acknowledge it, identify the feelings and emotion with it, and again, throw it away. It has nothing to do with you as a professional. If you are being abused, if you are being manipulated, if you are being invalued, those are things that have nothing to do with you as a person. Truly, that's a larger macro issue within the organization. So thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate you. If you take a like, send me some feedback if it's good or if it's not, things I can work on and improve on. I will greatly appreciate it. Again, thanks so much, and you all have a blessed day. Thanks.